I was recently watching a talk you gave on YouTube in a YouTube video, um, and you pointed that
Hmm.
um, men going to see a psychologist, for example, is perhaps not as effective as men attending some kind of thing where they can be productive together, such as I think one example you gave is woodworking or something like that, where men can create something together.
Hmm.
So I thought that
Yeah.
was pretty interesting. It made me really think. I don't know too much about psychotherapy and stuff like that, but it's very interesting that you mentioned team sport. You see so many people go to these big stadiums and come together, not just people, but mostly men, of course, and celebrate a team or
Hmm.
even just to be part of it. It's something I don't participate in myself. I don't really watch sports so much, but that's an interesting point you gave.
Sure.
Um,
Well,
yeah, any
well, if you
comment?
think that we men evolved to be fishing, hunting, defending, organizing themselves in units to defend their community, their neighborhood, their country from enemies, and that is the purpose in evolutionary terms. That was often the purpose, the function of men in society. And now we're in a situation where very few men are actually doing that stuff. And maybe that's a good thing. We have a very diversified economic sector. Um, but to get to your point, yeah, one of there are different modalities of healing when you have a mental health issue. Medication can be helpful, therapy can be helpful, but one thing I always say is these group activities, what I call shoulder to shoulder activities, men going out fishing together, going out hunting together, playing a sport together, even going for a walk together, where you're shoulder to shoulder. Maybe when you were younger, your dad used to take you for a drive, you were shoulder to shoulder, and you'd have a meaningful conversation rather than sitting across a desk face to face, like the typical psychiatric consultation. And these we're now packaging these shoulder to shoulder activities into mental health interventions. As you saw in my video, we know that when men are vulnerable, when they have mental health issues, put them in those kind of group settings, get them to do a shared activity with other men where there's an outcome, where there's something that happens at the end, which is useful and which they're invested in, that can be really helpful for their recovery. And that's another reason why I was interested in the community, that it's clearly it's a group activity, at least it was when we studied it. I imagine it's become a bit more solitary now due to the internet and other social developments, the pandemic. But at the time, things were happening in groups. People had so-called wingmen. There was lectures happening in different cities in Canada where some of the more experienced guys would come and teach the younger guys, and they would go out on and game together, shoulder to shoulder. And actually, one interesting finding from the study was that when we asked the men what the social consequences were that they most appreciated, it was not. They rarely mentioned women. They said it was making the male friends that they made and that they're still in contact with them, and that was the best social outcome for them.
Fascinating. Wow. Makes me wonder.